Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the Lomachenko versus Kambosos breakdown and prediction video. As Vasily Lomachenko, the former 3-division world champion, former 2-time Olympic gold medalist, returns on Saturday, May 11th in the main event of an ESPN card to challenge for the vacant IBF lightweight championship of the world against former unified lightweight champion George Kambosos Jr. I believe they're fighting in Kambosos' home country of Australia. Again, that fight takes place May 11th. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So this fight between Lomachenko and Kambosos, if you haven't seen my breakdown and prediction videos before, I will discuss the fight, what it means, what's at stake. Then we get into each fighter, what they've done coming into fight, ask the same kind of questions. At the very end, I ask one final question, and then I give my prediction on the fight. So with that being said, in a fight like this, when we get into the fighters individually, a fight like this where both fighters are challenging for a vacant belt, we would go with the A side first, which is Lomachenko, and then discuss the B side, Kambosos, after. So let's get rolling on it and look at this fight and what it means. What's at stake here is the vacant IBF lightweight championship of the world, vacated by Devin Haney last year after he didn't want to fight Lomachenko in a rematch, and then waited around for Gervonta Tank Davis and couldn't get that fight either. He decided to move up to 140 and vacated all his titles after that. Kambosos won an eliminator to get in this position, and Lomachenko, because of his performance last year against Haney, was also in position to fight for the vacant belt. So a lot at stake in terms of prominence in the division. Both of these guys are former number ones at lightweight. Right now, technically, I think a lot of people look at Lomachenko still as the number one lightweight in the world right now, with Devin Haney moving up to 140. Tank doesn't really fight the best fighters at 135, and Shakur Stevenson hasn't done enough to earn that spot. So most people look at Loma as the de facto number one right now. A world title would probably shore that up a little bit more. George Kambosos, though, is a former unified champ. He knocked off the previous number one before him, which was Teofimo Lopez. He knocked him off and then lost that status to Devin Haney himself. So both these guys trying to get back on the top of the mountain here. It's a crossroads fight. Both guys are in need of a big win right here. And they both have a good crack at making a big move and being kind of the guy, one of the top two guys you got to go through at 135. So, we're going to start with the winner can also dictate unification bouts, with Emmanuel Navarrete going after the vacant WBO belt. It opens the door for that. Shakur Stevenson is also with Top Rank, and he's the WBC champion, so that leaves that door open. And then Gervonta Tank Davis would likely want to take a crack at the winner at some point. That's a crossroads fight to try, a good fight to try to make to unify belts. So a lot at stake for the winner here, a lot at stake besides just the IBF title. Now we're going to start with Vasily Lomachenko and take a look at him and what he's done coming in to this fight. Now his last 3 fights, that's what we always look at. They date back to December of 2021 when he took on Richard Comey in what was his second fight back following the very close decision loss to Teofimo Lopez, in which he lost his unified titles. That fight, he put Comey down a couple times in that fight and ended up scoring a one-sided 12-round unanimous decision. Then he returned 10 months later against undefeated Jermaine Ortiz. He was actually supposed to fight Haney in the first half of 2022 he was supposed to fight Kambosos for the unified title in the first half of 2022, but he ended up pulling out of the fight when the war in Ukraine broke out between Ukraine and Russia, and decided to go support his country instead. So he took the first half of the year off, returned 10 months after the Comey fight against Jermaine Ortiz, struggled with Ortiz, was actually losing halfway through, and then took over the second half of the fight, had to close strong, but ended up securing a close but deserving unanimous decision as he put himself in line again for the world title. And in May of 2023, he got his crack at the undisputed title against undefeated Devin Haney. In a fight that most people feel he won, a controversial decision came down and awarded Devin Haney with the unanimous nod as he retained the undisputed title. Lomachenko was noticeably broken up about this. Very tough loss right here for him, because most people agree that he should have won the fight. He dictated the pace. He outthrew Haney. He outlanded Haney. He landed the better shots, and it was very disappointing that he did not get the nod in this one. But that's how it goes sometimes. Devin Haney did not want to give him a rematch. He refused the rematch, and that shows you the kind of fighter Haney is, that he didn't want to go for glory against Loma. Loma's waited around patiently to try to secure a rematch, look at other options, but ultimately decided on, once Haney vacated the belt, on fighting for the vacant lightweight title against Kambosos. Good opponent choice here. I know it's going to be about a year layoff, but he hasn't really struggled with that thus far. He's fought one fight per calendar year the last 3 calendar years, but all of those fights have went to the scorecards. So, and with his training regimen and everything, he should be good rolling into this fight. I think he's hungry as hell, confident as hell, and I think he's coming for blood in this one. I think he wants to turn in a great performance and become a 2-time lightweight champ and start building on becoming undisputed, and taking another crack at undisputed again. Now, what kind of fight does Vasily Lomachenko need to have to be able to beat George Kambosos? And I think he just needs to do what he normally does: in and out, pop shots, and combination punching, and just break down George Kambosos. Just really break him down. Not go in overconfident, overlooking him. That's what Teofimo Lopez did, and that's why Lopez lost that fight. He needs to come in just highly focused, ready to go, in great shape, and just break him down, box him, wear him down, and see if he can stop him late, or just go for the one-sided decision and, just prepare to dominate. That's basically what he needs to do. Use his angles and just his normal style, because he is a superior boxer in this one. Can he win this fight by knockout? I think he can. I don't know if it's one-punch power. Kambosos does have a decent chin, a pretty solid chin, actually. But, he got caught against Lopez eventually in that fight and hurt. So he's not immune to it. He almost got stopped against Haney. I think it's going to be more an accumulation punching type knockout in the later rounds if Lomachenko stops him. But Loma, with this perfect timing that he has, I think has the ability to maybe one punch stun him and hurt him badly and potentially finish him. So yeah, I think he can win by knockout. Can he win by a decision? Yeah, absolutely. He's a superior boxer. I think he absolutely can win this fight by decision. Now, what's more likely, a decision or a knockout in this one? I'd have to say a decision, because Loma hasn't knocked anybody out since Nakatani, which was back in early 2021. So it's been about 3 years now since he scored a knockout. But it's not to say he doesn't have the power to knock people out. It's just he's always been a smaller lightweight, and Kambosos has a pretty solid chin. So that's why I say it's more likely a decision, but I could see a knockout here. What does a win mean for Vasily Lomachenko? It means a lot. I think a win, secures the IBF lightweight title, and at 36 pushes him forward, you know, as the top dog in his twilight, trying to still achieve his undisputed goal. And so a win means a lot here. But it needs, in my opinion, I think an impressive win means even more. I think he needs that impressive win in this one to secure it all. What does a loss mean? A loss to Kambosos, I think, puts things in perspective that he's past his prime now, and he's not going to be at that top tier level anymore. I think that's what a loss does. So a loss really would be devastating to Lomachenko. It really would. I think even retirement would be considered after a loss to Kambosos. So now we switch over to the former unified lightweight champion of the world, George Kambosos Jr. from Australia, and we take a look at his what he's done coming into this fight. His last 3 fights date back to June of 2022, when he lost the undisputed lightweight championship of the world, well, the unified lightweight championship, when he attempted to become undisputed when he took on Devin Haney. He got cleanly outboxed in that bout, outworked, and lost a clean unanimous decision. He had an automatic rematch clause in the contract. 4 months later, they would lock horns again in October of 2022, where he would challenge for the undisputed title, and this time he suffered just a straight up beatdown. It was even more convincing than the first fight. It was just an absolute one-sided fight, and he lost. He almost got knocked out in the late rounds. He definitely got beat up in that fight and lost. He would return in, I believe it was May or June of last year against Maxie Hughes. It might have even been July. He took on Maxie Hughes and struggled with Maxie Hughes. It was a final eliminator in the IBF, and he really struggled with them, and ended up escaping with a 12-round majority decision, but in a fight that some people thought Maxie Hughes won. So George Kambosos, his last 3 fights have not been impressive. They really haven't. And the one prior to that was the win over Lopez, which I think most people feel, myself included, was kind of a one-hit wonder, combination of things. Lopez overlooking him, looking for one punch to knock him out, and also Lopez is struggling weight. So I think Kambosos just had the night of his life, and he's rolling into this fight confident because it's a big fight. I know George Kambosos says, fuck it, he's just going to go out there and do his thing, but he's definitely not hot rolling into this fight. He's definitely not. But he has an opportunity to become a world champion, so I do think the hunger is still there to become a world champion a second time. Now, what does he need to do to win this fight? He needs a hope that Lomachenko is not as fast and elusive as he once was. He needs a hope that Vasily Lomachenko is old and that he can get in there and bully him. He needs to try to jab for jab with Loma and catch him with something big early to try to hurt him. Those are the things he needs to do to hope to win. Can Kambosos win this fight by knockout? I mean, anything can happen. I guess he could catch him with something big. But I think the likelihood of a knockout, I don't see it. Kambosos is not a notorious big-time puncher, but I guess the possibility is always there. And he is the bigger man. Can he win this fight by a decision? Man, he really would have to overwhelm him. It would be a close decision if he beat him. I don't think he beats him by a wide score. I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know if he can win a decision over Loma. Now, what is more likely, that Kambosos would win by knockout or win by decision? It's tough to say. I honestly don't see either thing being a real possibility. But if I had to pick one at this moment, I'd say it's more likely he would knock Loma out than beat him by a decision. But that one's kind of a toss-up. I guess I could, it really is a toss-up that he could do either one, but I don't know. That's the right answer, if he could or not. What does a win mean for George Kambosos? Well, I think it puts to sleep the fact that he's a one-hit wonder. If he can beat Vasily Lomachenko here, he becomes a 2-time world champion. He continues the big fights. and again, and erases the I'm a one-hit wonder type guy. What does a loss mean for Kambosos? It depends on how he loses. He goes out there and gets his ass thoroughly beat. People are going to look at him as a one-hit wonder going forward. He's still going to have a name as a former world champ, can get anybody he wants, mostly anybody he wants in the ring, but I think he's going to have that moniker that he's just a one-hit wonder type guy. So, the size difference in this fight, we'll discuss that in a minute. The final question that I'm going to ask is it better for boxing if Vasily Lomachenko wins this fight, or is it better for boxing if George Kambosos wins this fight? I think it's pretty clear that it's better for boxing if Loma wins. Loma's a big name. He's a big veteran. He's a future Hall of Famer. He brings in money fights. He's very interesting to watch. He's very elusive, attractive style. So it's definitely better if he wins, because he's never really been dominated in a fight. He's lost very close, controversial decisions, his 3 defeats. So, the fact that he's never really been beat down gives us a level of we really don't know how good he still is or anything like that. But Kambosos has been thoroughly beat down now twice by Devin Haney. And I think we kind of hit a ceiling with Kambosos where you know how good he really is or not. So now, my final prediction. Who do I believe is going to win this fight between Vasily Lomachenko and George Kambosos Jr.? Well, Loma's given up 2 inches in height, 2.5 inches in reach. But I don't think that's very significant. Style for style, I still believe what I saw last year with the fight with Haney is Lomachenko still has it. Absolutely. He's still at a very high level. And I believe he is the far superior fighter here. And I think he's angry, and I think he's hungry to make another run. And I think he's going to come out and beat the shit out of George Kambosos, to be honest. I see the kind of performance that he had 3 years ago with Nakatani and Richard Comey. I think he's going to dominate him, and I'm actually going to call for a knockout in the later rounds. I think he's going to pummel Kambosos, even though he's 6 years older. I think he's going to dominate him, break him down, beat him up, and I think he stops him in the late rounds to make a statement and become a lightweight champion again. So that's it. That's what I got. That is my Lomachenko versus Lomachenko versus Kambosos breakdown and prediction video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.